Memories like the corners of my mind, misty watercolor memories of the way we were.
Memories in music. Each week, a guest retraces the stepping stones of their life through the memories associated with songs. It's presented by Bernie Quayle.
My guest today is a lassie from Lancashire. She's lived on the island for the past 30 years, and since moving to the Isle of Man, has played a leading role in our community, especially in the areas of education and music. In fact, she was awarded the MBE for her voluntary services to music and the community. Honorary Secretary to the Manx Music Festival, Joan Hinnigan. My Joan, what musical memories you must have.
Well, they're probably quite different to other people, but yes, I started singing with the family when we were very young. You know,
in Blackburn, Lancashire.
In Blackburn, Lancashire. I think everybody sang then at home, and whenever there was a gathering of the families, my aunties and uncles and my grandma, etc., it always ended in a sing-song.
Of course.
So my earliest memory from then is Daisy, and this was usually the start of somebody swinging into something else, and every auntie had her own song, and my mother's and my mother always had to sing Sally, and my father used to sing It Was My Mother's Birthday Today. So they're all of a different era, but interestingly enough, Daisy has gone right through because we sang it with our own children, and when we used to go in the car we always had, we always sang, and now our grandchildren, the youngest of whom is 18 months, and they sing Daisy now, you see, and they want to sing, and we all sing Daisy, and our 2-3-year-old grandchildren, they sing it all the way through, and lots of other songs besides, so yes, I think Daisy is the one that triggers off many happy memories for me.
I often say that we will hear a song or a piece of music on the radio that will take you right back to your childhood days in this case, but this isn't a song you'll hear very often on the radio nowadays.
Oh no, we never hear it now. It's and actually we sing it, and strangers are there, they're always quite amazed to hear these little tots of 3 singing Daisy. And our grandson of 18 months, he can't really say very many words, but he starts off Daisy. So whether he's going to be a bass one day or not, I'm not sure. But
well, Joan, let's relive those childhood memories with you right now.
Daisy, give me your answer, do.
It's a secret, but I'm half crazy, all for the love of you.
I've been thinking it won't be a stylish marriage.
No, we can't afford a carriage.
No, ma'am, but you look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two. Stylish marriage.
No, we can't afford a carriage.
No, ma'am, but you'll look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two.
Daisy on a bicycle built for two. It was the Frank Duval Orchestra along with the Gaslight Singers. Gaslight. I mean, in Blackburn, Lancashire, you probably remember the old gaslighters going around the streets.
Oh no, I don't think I do remember. No, I'm not quite as old as that. No, I
Well,
don't.
I do as a child here in the Isle of
Do
Man.
you? I don't think I remember that. I didn't live in Blackburn only as a very young child. I lived in the country from being 4 years of age. So really,
okay.
I had a very isolated childhood in that respect. But well, when I started at school, I was at a church school, and of course we had hymns every day. But we also, in our early years, 7, 8, 9, we learnt things like The Minstrel Boy and Drink to Me Only
With Thine Eyes,
and the
yeah.
British Grenadiers and songs like that. I think it was an era when children were encouraged to be to stand up and be proud of their country, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Then I went off to senior school, and of course here we had a headmistress who was very keen on us learning about all kinds of music and drama. And one of the first things I remember was going on a school visit to Preston, where the National Ballet came, and I think it was Beryl Gray, Dame Beryl Gray, who danced in Swan Lake, and I was just transported into another world. The music and the dancing and the lights, it was just, to me, magical. And I think that was the start of it. I joined the choir at school, and we learnt things like Hansel and Gretel and many different songs. And we also were very fortunate because, being in Blackburn in Lancashire, we weren't far from Manchester and Liverpool.
Yes.
So the Liverpool Phil used to come with Sir Malcolm Sargent, and the Halley Orchestra with Dr. John Barbarali.
You've had the best, haven't you?
We did.
Yes.
We had wonderful, wonderful concerts. And of course, from Blackburn came Kathleen Ferrier. I mean, she was born just outside Blackburn, but she was brought up in Blackburn. And it was the time when she was very well known, making her name. And of course, she really was the person that we all loved to talk about, and many
Very
people.
proud of her, I'm sure.
Well, we were. Many people knew her, and I knew of her. And in fact, when I first started work, which was at the post office, I was given a rule book, and my rule book had been held before me by Kathleen Ferrier.
Am I right in thinking that Kathleen Ferrier really made Blow the Wind Southerly really her own?
She did. But I don't want you to play that today.
Oh, I was only guessing, Joan.
I would like to hear another song that, something else that she became famous for. And in fact, it was, I think it was her last performance on stage when she sang this. And it really is, to me, a most beautiful piece of music.
And the
that
song
is
you've chosen?
What is Life? And she sings the part, I think, of Orpheus.
What is life to me without thee? What is left if thou art dead?
The wonderful voice of Kathleen Ferrier and What is Life? That was the second choice of my guest today on Memories of Music, Joan Hinnigan. Joan, we've looked at your childhood days as a lassie from Lancashire, and as Wilfred Pickles used to say on the radio, let's go courting. Your days of courting. Now, obviously, these are very important days musically too.
Oh, they are, yes. And my third song actually recalls those days because we were very lucky in our young, in that sort of era,
Yes.
because we had lots of wonderful musicals at the cinema, and we had loads of cinemas in those days. We also had big public halls where we had super bands like Ted Heath and
Oh, yeah.
with Jack Parnell on the drums, and Tito Burns, Edmunda Ross, and Joe Loss. So great dancing days. And so a lot of the songs from that time recall those those lovely evenings that we had, and also the different films, because we had things like Showboat and Oklahoma, Kiss Me Kate.
All the great Hollywood musicals.
Kismet,
Yes.
yeah, lovely tunes. And also the words were always so clear, weren't they?
Absolutely.
We could all pick them up and repeat them and sing them. And I loved the melody. There was always a strong melody line. And so this is where my third song will come from, because the man who's going to sing it is actually appearing this year on Cleveland Night. He is going to adjudicate at the Cleveland Medal, because not only does he sing the more popular type of song from that era, but he also is well known as an opera singer. He was the leading singers when they opened the new opera house in Cardiff.
Right.
And in fact, he's still performing there. And I think they're going to go on tour. They may be coming up to Liverpool soon. And he does a lot of performances on the continent and in the United States, because he's based in Canada these days.
Now, is he a tenor, baritone, or...?
He's a baritone. He's
Okay.
a Welsh baritone. He was actually a fireman in Wales.
Really?
When he first started singing. I think he started in the Eisteddfods, and from there he was he was sort of recommended to go for training, and he's gone on to great things.
Your husband must have some sort of affinity here with this particular singer.
Well, I think he likes his more popular tunes,
Yes.
the things from
shows.
Oklahoma and stuff
Yeah.
like that, yes. So we're looking forward to him coming.
Joan, let's hear a sample now of this young man from Wales that will be performing Cleveland Medal Night and adjudicating. Here is Jason Howard.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye. It's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the cattle are standing like statues. All the cattle are standing like statues. They don't turn their heads as they see me ride by. But a little brown maverick is winking her eye. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the sounds of the earth are like music. All the songs of the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy it don't miss a tree. And an old weeping willow is laughing at me. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful day.
Well, Cleveland Medal Night goers will certainly have something to look forward to. What a fabulous voice Jason Howard has. I shall be playing more of his music in future, Joan. Thank you for
lovely.
letting me borrow that CD.
Yes, well, I'm glad. Yes, thank you.
Now, we've covered a lot of your lifetime in Lancashire, but you came to the Isle of Man roughly 30 years ago, I believe.
That's right, yes.
Was it because of your husband's job?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
when my husband was appointed here that we came over.
Chief Fire Officer.
That's
Yes.
right. And of course, when I first came, I wondered what I was doing here because the children were at school and he was at work. But I did get a little job. I was writing for the local press. And because of writing for the press, of course, in the West it was, I got involved in. Well, I had to ferret out things to write about, hadn't
Right.
I? And one of the things was the Braid Eisteddfod, the Cronkavody Eisteddfod
Yes.
first, and then the Braid Eisteddfod. And of course, I'll never forget listening to Alfie Fail singing the hippopotamus song, and the whole of the audience all joining in. Yes,
Yes.
it was just fabulous. And the other thing, my outstanding memory from going to the Braid, the first Braid, was there was a little tiny chapel down at the crossroads.
Yes.
And so from about 9 o'clock onwards, between 9 o'clock and 2 in the morning, people were wandering down the road in the dark because they went down there for the refreshments. I mean, it was so unique, really, and absolutely brilliant. But our daughter was entered into the guild, both our daughters were, and one of them went on to sing, and she actually sang at one of the Eisteddfods. And Alan Wilcox, who was the adjudicator, said that this child, he was surprised. She not only knew what note she wanted, but she knew when the pianist had given her the wrong note.
Oh.
And so I had a word with him and said, well, we're not very much into performing music. What would you suggest? And he said, what about you should take her to one of the choirs. And so we took her to the Aig Thresholm Choir, which was run by Eleanor Shimon. Absolutely fabulous person, and the work she did with them. And we have many happy memories of that time because they sang a range of songs, John Rutter and hymns and also lots of folk songs. and I am going to choose one of those. But really, I've had such a job deciding which one.
It is difficult, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is, because everyone has something special about it.
Joan, before we play your last selection, I've got to ask you, I said at the beginning of the program that you've been awarded the MBE for your services to music and the community here in the Isle of Man. When you went to Buckingham Palace to receive your award, there was rather an amusing incident at the time. I've got to ask you about this. Can you tell us, please?
If you're well, yes, I think I was next in line to go forward. You know, and you have to stand there by this gentleman at arms, or whatever his title is, and you have to stand there until he gives you the nod. And I was stood there all waiting. And suddenly there was a huge crash. We thought a bomb had gone off, but of course part of the ceiling had fallen in. And everybody jumped, everybody except the Queen. And Her Majesty just stood there, and she looked over to where it had come from, raised her eyebrow, and then carried on as if nothing had happened.
What composure.
And that was it. I was pushed forward. I was the next.
Treading away amongst the plaster.
Yeah.
That was in the main ballroom in
It
Buckingham
was,
Palace.
yes. No, it was actually at the back of the ballroom.
okay.
It did hit somebody, because there's sort of tiered seats at the side, and somebody on the side did get some of this plaster with quite a thud.
I'm delighted to say that people are beginning to refer once again to the Manx Music Festival as the Guild. It's always been known as the Guild.
Yes.
And Joan, I wish you, because you've taken time out in a very busy schedule here leading up to the Guild, I wish you all the very best with this year's festival.
Thank you very much.
And tell me about the piece you've chosen as our closure today.
Well, the piece I've chosen is For the Beauty of the Earth. It's a John Rutter piece, and it's the Aig Threslin Choir.
Joan, thank you for sharing your memories and music.
Thank you.
For the beauty of the earth, for the beauty of the skies, for the love
the Egg Threshland Choir. And that concludes my guest choice for Memories in Music today. Again, Joan Hinnigan, many thanks for sharing those memories. This, though, is the last in the current series. If you've enjoyed listening to this aspect of island life, then we'd like to hear from you. Write to us at Manx Radio Broadcasting House, Douglas in the Isle of Man, or email roymacmillan@manxradio.com. This program will be available for the next 7 days in Manx Radio's audio vault on our website. All being well, I will return with another series of Memories in Music.